Hi, it's Chris Boydus, and I would like to go over truancy elimination plans, otherwise known as TEP. The truancy elimination plan is one of many tools that we can use to engage students and parents. It is similar in a lot of ways to a parent-teacher conference in that you'll be interacting with the parent and working together for the benefit of the student. The tone should be supportive and collaborative. And the TEP is an official document, and it's kept in the student's file. And finally, it's fluid. And what I mean by that is it can be adjusted or revised at any point if appropriate. So if you write a TEP and then things change, you can adjust it really quite easily. So let me give you a brief preview of what a TEP looks like. So it starts with some basic demographics. Name of the student, their grade level. This is a really good time when you have the parent on the phone to just double check that the home address is correct and that the phone numbers you're using are the best numbers to use. The first section that you'll be completing or filling out is where we identify problem areas. And I have a bunch of different examples here, and you're welcome to use these examples as they seem appropriate with your student. So the first one is, let's say Johnny Appleseed has missed 23 days of school. That's the description. The solution is Johnny Appleseed will sign in daily. And who's responsible for that? Johnny Appleseed. And that's where we identify student strengths. And here's just some examples. One that I always use is if the student has a relationship with their homeroom coach, with their mentor, or any staff member. Let's say they like their social studies teacher. Any connection with the staff member is a strength. So how do you find that out? Well, I have a possible question here. So you could ask something like, is there someone at our school that you feel comfortable with or think that you would want as a support person? You can just ask them if there's somebody that they talk to, somebody that they check in with, just to get an idea if that person isn't you. Who do they talk to? And then the relevance is that staff member will support and encourage the student. Here's another one, and I have on the actual form, there's multiple that you can choose from, but here's just another example. The parents are invested in Johnny's education. All parents are invested to some degree in their students' education. So the question you can ask a parent is, what would you like to see with regard to Johnny's education? And the parent will say, well, I'd like him to pass, I would like him to graduate. Their response, every single time I've done this, has been something in a supportive nature that they would like to see, a goal that they would like to see with their student. Let's say the parent's name is Martha. Martha will encourage Johnny Appleseed to complete his or her work. Or Martha has agreed to work together with the mentor or the coach to encourage the student to complete work. And then we have solutions. So Johnny Appleseed will have weekly meetings with Mrs. Smith in order to discuss progress. Well, who's responsible? That would be the student and Mrs. Smith. And the completion date, I usually use the end of the year unless it's something that I'm focusing on that I'd like to have them do sooner. Again, you can come up with unique ones, different ones, and I do have a cheat sheet that has multiple examples and it gives you suggested questions to ask to get the answers. You can veer off of that. You do not need to use it, but it's something that might help you as you get started. And then the last part is the signatures, and we do get the signature of the parent, the student, and you would be the school official. Now, how do you get that? Well, if you're doing a TEP in front of the student and parent, it's easy. You can just have them sign. If they're not, then I usually say something like, I'm going to be sending home a form, and it's really important that you sign it and return it to me. And then I ask, would it make it easier for you if I included an envelope with my address? I ask things like that in that way because it's showing the parent that I'm doing something or helping them in some way. They always will say yes, and then I just include a stamped envelope addressed, and I send it off. So, what support do I have to do these? Well, first of all, any of the mentors will assist in any way we can. The second thing is great news. Brittany fills out the demographics section. So you don't need to go in and type their name, type their phone number, type what grade they're in. She does all of that for us. So that the first page is completed when you get it. And then to make it easy also, Jamie will give you an up-to-date attendance sheet. And you can just staple that form to the TEP, and that just gives a visual to the parent of these are the days that the student has missed this year. Another question, when do I do a TEP? Well, every Wednesday, starting this week, you're going to receive a list of your students who have missed 3 out of the last 5 days. If they've done that, if they've missed 3 out of the last 5, you would look at those names and make a decision whether or not you want to do a TEP. It's your choice. So it might be that you're just calling and talking to the student and parent about it, and you're not going through the formal process of a TEP. Maybe you've already done that, and now you feel that you need to up it a little bit. Well, you can do a TEP. So it is the decision of the homeroom coach or the mentor if the student is an F2 student, because the F2 students that the mentors are covering, we will still cover their TEPs. So these would be the kids that you're focusing on in your homeroom. And by the way, if the mentor is doing a TEP, we would be talking with you about this. We would let you know. We would even, if you want, you're certainly invited to sit in on it, because the kid still is, in your homeroom. It's just because we're working with them, we might know what's going on, right now. And it makes it easy to do these TEPs when you know the student. So, when does this start? Well, this Wednesday you will receive your first attendance list. What do I do if I can't reach a parent? The first suggestion I have is to talk to the previous mentor. And that could be the mentor that the student had this year, or it could be looking back and finding the mentor the student had last year. And if you can't reach either parent or the student, you can complete the TEP and mail a copy with a self-addressed stamped envelope. As I mentioned before, you will get a cheat sheet with questions. You will get the attendance that has the 3 out of 5 days. You'll get a list of those kids. One last question that I just thought of is, how do you start all this? How does Brittany know to fill out the demographics? Well, in the cheat sheet at the very beginning, step 1 is to actually, you go to SharePoint and there's a place that you just type the student's name. And that triggers Brittany to do the demographics, Jamie to do the attendance, and then they email it to you. And you can use it from there. But this will be in the cheat sheet, and it'll just have step 1, step 2, step 3. You are completely welcome to ask the mentor if they will sit in, to role play with the mentor before, just to make sure that you have the flow and how the meeting goes. If you have any questions, the mentor will be at your meeting, at your department meeting, and they will be happy to answer questions to the best of their ability. Thanks a lot.